Neither of the two believed it, so Lin Luo decided to take them over to take a look. But they haven't gone in yet. Just saw a group of cultivators going crazy at the entrance. None of them can bring themselves to believe that they've spent 20 hard years on potion refining. They can't even beat a naive kid who doesn't even understand the basic knowledge. Even Ning Zhang on the side is so angry that he wants to hit the wall. Lin Luo looked around, but did not see Blue Autumn Yun's figure. So, he brought a few alchemists over to let them explain the situation. After hearing everyone's account, both of them gasped in shock. Junior brother is indeed terrifying. And at this moment, Blue Autumn Yun is strolling on the street. He came to a roadside stall selling novels. After listening to the boss's introduction, without saying a word, he picked up a volume of a yellow-covered book. Just as he was about to take out money, he hesitated slightly. It seemed that he didn't have a single penny on him. The first thing this man did after joining the world was to go buy bamboo slips. But who could have expected that he had not brought any money with him at all? Fortunately, his several senior sisters arrived just in time. Without saying a word, they helped him buy everything. By the way, they also dragged him back home. But they had just returned home when the door was locked. The three women surrounded him without saying a word, each smiling as they stared at him. Blue Autumn Yun's heart raced as she watched. Could it be that they were going to start a real battle so soon? Before he could react, Aurelia Luo had already appeared in front of him. She asked him very seriously whether he was an alchemist or not. Blue Autumn Yun awkwardly smiled and quickly gave her a negative answer. But Lin Luo on the side interrupted. In Luling City, only 3 people can refine the first-ranked top-quality Dan pills. Even Miss Mu cannot do it. How could he not be one of them? Blue Autumn Yun was suddenly very surprised. He never expected that even little senior sister couldn't do it. He originally just wanted to play around casually. Could it be that he has overdone it again? At this moment, Aurelia Luo suddenly suggested that he refine again in front of everyone. Ariel Mu on the side was also very curious. She followed closely, asking Blue Autumn Yun to demonstrate the potion refining skills properly. Blue Autumn Yun agreed upon seeing this, and calmly started to operate the spiritual energy to make the flames in the alchemy cauldron vigorous before he began refining the potion. In the surprised gazes of the crowd, a top-quality Dan pill appeared in his hand in no time. Blue Autumn Yun casually picked it up and threw it towards Aurelia Luo, who caught it in a fluster. After witnessing his capability, she immediately decided to leave the matter of participating in the competition to him. She was seen holding Blue Autumn Yun's arm with both hands, with a look of hope and anticipation on her face. Even her tone sounded slightly coquettish. Blue Autumn Yun can't withstand such an attack. Immediately agreed to it. Aurelia Luo joyfully embraced Blue Autumn Yun in a bear hug. Blue Autumn Yun's mind also couldn't help but wander into inappropriate thoughts. But suddenly, as she laughed, she started crying. Ariel Mu and Lin Luo were suddenly at a loss too. Blue Autumn Yun gestured to the two to leave. Then he gently placed his hand on her shoulder, listening attentively to her story. Aurelia Luo choked back her words as she accused Blue Autumn Yun. Those merchant associations are all watching and laughing at her. Everyone thinks that a girl like her definitely won't be able to hold on. The alchemist at home was also unable to work. The former chief alchemist even took advantage of her situation to force her into marriage. Blue Autumn Yun's eyes turned cold and resorted to using marriage as pressure. He silently noted the name Zhao Lu in his heart. Then helped senior sister wipe away her tears and rest assured. I will definitely beat up the merchant association that bullied you at the potion refining symposium. Aurelia Luo's cheeks quickly flushed. An unprecedented feeling surged in her heart. This man can casually refine top-quality Dan pills after experiencing his amazing skills. Aurelia Luo immediately decided to entrust the task of participating in the competition to him. From that day on, Blue Autumn Yun was assigned to a separate potion refining area. Being able to refine pills alone is so much fun. and Lin Luo brings snacks made by senior sister Luo to serve him every day. This made her can't help but feel that this behavior is quite similar to the gestures of young ladies trying to please their beloved. But she quickly convinced herself that it was impossible. They are just senior sister and junior brother. They shouldn't behave recklessly. Just as she was about to leave, it seemed like she suddenly remembered something. She turned around and told Blue Autumn Yun that if there was any need, please be sure to speak up. The Merchant Association will try their best to help resolve it. Blue Autumn Yun's corner of the mouth twitched. She almost choked on her saliva. He did encounter a difficult problem. And it's not just any regular problem, it's a huge one. According to his understanding, in the past potion refining symposiums, as long as one can refine second-rank high-quality Dan pills, victory is within reach. But now, no matter how he does it, it always turns out to be top quality. He suddenly found that he couldn't control it. Blue Autumn Yun was extremely frustrated. Nowadays, people from Boundless Pavilion are searching everywhere. Achieving top quality at the age of 16 will definitely attract their attention. He doesn't want to go back with them. He still wants to stay here and continue his sweet love affair with the young lady. I really didn't expect it. I don't know how to become weaker. It has become his most troubling problem now. Hearing this, Lin Luo was a little confused. Blue Autumn Yun didn't expect her to be able to help anyway, so he sent her away. Then he tried several more times with the alchemy cauldron himself. The results were exactly the same as before. They were all top-quality Dan pills. In a fit of anger, he decided to quit. Why not go out for a walk and relax instead of getting stuck here? Maybe you'll even get something out of it. You could also collect the ingredients needed for the prescription along the way. He soon arrived at the black market of Liling City. But it is much more efficient than the Merchant Association on the surface. His arrival quickly caught the attention of a shirtless man. The shirtless man walked straight over and stood in front of Blue Autumn Yun. Before he could speak a word, Blue Autumn Yun flashed and appeared behind him in an instant. Then a leg swiped past, giving him a fatal blow. The man was also stepped on by Blue Autumn Yun as he landed. Blue Autumn Yun's face was very gloomy. He asked where the Dark Merchant Association is. The man with bare arms glared fiercely at Blue Autumn Yun and shouted loudly for him to let go. Blue Autumn Yun forcefully applied pressure with his heels. With just a little more force, this man's arm would be broken. The man gritted his teeth in pain. He told Blue Autumn Yun the location of the Merchant Association. But Blue Autumn Yun had just released her grip. The man then fumbled for a dagger from behind. Unfortunately, before he could take it out, his vision suddenly flipped. His body uncontrollably flew backward. He didn't stop until he crashed into the wall with a dull thud. The onlookers were all shocked and dismayed. He obediently returned to his original position, not daring to continue causing trouble, waiting to find the next target. The man is single-mindedly trying to hide his identity. However, he can easily shock everyone with just a casual move. Feeling depressed, he decided to go out for a walk to clear his mind. He soon found the largest merchant association in the black market. Upon entering, he saw a woman wearing a fox mask. The woman quickly scanned him. Seeing that he was dressed casually and still very young, she immediately classified him as a rookie. The woman politely asked him if he was buying or selling goods. Blue Autumn Yun told her that he was both buying and selling goods. Without saying a word, the woman decided to take him to the selling area first. Blue Autumn Yun knew the tricks here very well. This was just to see if he could present valuable treasures. Only if the value was high would she consider continuing with further services. Blue Autumn Yun waved her hand and immediately chose the cheapest trading area. The woman thought to herself, "Sure enough, he is a poor guy. Only the most destitute people would choose the lowest grade trading area." After realizing that she couldn't profit from the young man, the woman turned around and left cleanly and neatly. It's fortunate that the entrance to the lowest level trading area is the worst decorated. It's very easy to find. After passing through the dark corridor enter the hall. Inside are individual windows. The black cat at the reception is stretching its tired body, planning to leave. But she immediately sat up straight when she saw Blue Autumn Yun. Blue Autumn Yun told her that she was here to deal with some Dan pills. Black cat remained silent for a moment. Doubts arose in her mind. Dressed plainly and looking very young. Could she be the noble alchemist? However, she continued to patiently receive him. She asked him to place the Dan pills on the table for appraisal. Black cat asked Blue Autumn Yun to wait for a moment. She then took the jade box. She carefully opened it. A faint shimmer leaked from the seams. The strong smell of medicinal fragrance instantly woke up Black Cat's drowsy mind. My goodness, these are unexpectedly top-quality Dan pills. Black Cat quickly got up and opened the locked window and door, then invited Blue Autumn Yun to sit at their own seat. She couldn't help but feel secretly delighted. This single transaction is equivalent to the total turnover she has been handling for decades. If the transaction is successful, what a great achievement it would be. But she really has nothing to entertain them with. In desperation, she thought of herself. I heard that those high-end clients all have some quirks. But looking at the young man's handsome face, she didn't seem to be at a loss herself. She knelt beside Blue Autumn Yun's legs, blushing with embarrassment as she said, "Excuse me, may I use my hand? I don't have much experience, but I will try my best." These words left Blue Autumn Yun looking utterly confused. Black Cat continued to approach. Then perhaps you prefer other parts. If not, the mouth is also acceptable. Blue Autumn Yun blushed instantly. What does this Black Cat receptionist want to do? A man was actually able to receive such treatment on his first visit to the black market. The Black Cat woman went to great lengths to entertain him, coming up with all kinds of ways. Using both her hands and her mouth. Blue Autumn Yun suddenly felt a little confused. He sat there blushing, demonstrating an unparalleled level of dedication. But he quickly pushed the Black Cat attendant aside. Tell her that as long as she helps speed up handling the matter for herself, he really doesn't need it. Black Cat hesitated for a moment and then immediately stood up. Trembling, he took a few documents and asked him to sign them here. Blue Autumn Yun did not hesitate at all. He neatly signed his name on the documents. Black Cat stared blankly at the words on the documents. Excited tears welled up in their eyes. They could hardly believe that it was so simple to become their own client. She asked Blue Autumn Yun to wait here for a moment. While wiping away tears, she quickly ran out. After waiting for about half an hour, footsteps could be heard in the lobby. A middle-aged man dressed in splendid attire arrived at the lobby, followed by Black Cat and a group of attendants. He politely bowed to Blue Autumn Yun and introduced himself with the nickname Blazing Leopard. But Blue Autumn Yun continued to bow her head and drink her tea. It seems a bit dismissive not even to say her real name. Blazing Leopard's expression was serious. In a place like the black market, everyone tries their best to conceal their name. And his name is even more taboo. No one dares to ask about it on ordinary days. The man in front of him asked for his name as soon as they met. Could it be that he wanted to manipulate him? Based on his many years of experience, he could feel that this young man was definitely not simple. After hesitating for a moment, he decided to reveal his name. I am Priscilla Lee, the president here. May I know how to address you? Blue Autumn Yun had just finished speaking when the tea in their mouth sprayed all over Priscilla Lee's face. He coughed for a long time before calming down. You, a muscular man with a rough appearance, are called Priscilla Lee. The others behind them obviously hadn't heard the president's name before either. They couldn't help but laugh. Priscilla Lee turned around with an angry stare, exuding a murderous intent. Those people were so frightened that they immediately knelt down on the ground. Blue Autumn Yun also immediately stepped in to mediate, but still couldn't help but laugh heartily. Priscilla Lee Blazing Leopard Pussycat. You can tell your parents dote on you, ha ha ha. After a long while, Blue Autumn Yun finally managed to stop laughing. This time, he will handle the goods and wait for his valuation. Priscilla Lee immediately looked serious. she invited him to go to another place to discuss. Priscilla Lee walked through the long narrow tunnel with Blue Autumn Yun. They soon arrived at a lavishly decorated hall. They entered, and had someone lock the door behind them. Inside the room, several black cat attendants were constantly busy serving drinks and snacks. And each one of them looked stunningly beautiful. This man ventured into the black market alone to collect medicinal herbs, because the Dan pills he brought out were too precious, attracting the biggest local crime boss. After taking her seat, Priscilla Lee asked Blue Autumn Yun about the origin of these Dan pills. Blue Autumn Yun waved her hand reassuringly, saying that the source was clean and she only needed some money. But Priscilla Lee was not at ease about it. After all, these Dan pills are not easy to come by. She suspected that they must come from a major sect, so she had to be cautious. Blue Autumn Yun suddenly felt speechless. How come I am not even confident in the pills I refine myself? If you don't believe it, I can give you an alchemy cauldron for a live demonstration. Priscilla Lee was stunned for a moment. She then ordered the servants to fetch the alchemy cauldron. After a short while, 2 burly men brought a brand new alchemy cauldron over. This alchemy cauldron has a chance to increase the quality of potion refining, as well as enhance the control of flames and spiritual energy. Blue Autumn Yun was suddenly stunned when he heard this. It was only then that he understood what was going on. The tattered alchemy cauldron that was previously placed in the corner is equivalent to a damaged spiritual artifact, not only failing to enhance, but also increasing the difficulty of potion refining, inadvertently honing Blue Autumn Yun's potion refining skills. After switching to the high-level alchemy cauldron provided by Lin Luo, it was difficult to adapt. It then became challenging to lower the quality of the Dan pills. Priscilla Lee asked suspiciously what was wrong. Blue Autumn Yun waved his hand. Nothing, just not used to the alchemy cauldron being so good. Immediately, his robes fluttered. A stream of energy spread outwards from his body. Before long, the hall was filled with powerful spiritual pressure fluctuations. Priscilla Lee was greatly shocked. This is indeed a wind element spiritual energy variation spiritual root. This young man is truly extraordinary. The herbs floated in sequence and entered the alchemy cauldron. Before long, a pill in the shape of a Dan pill was formed. With a light flick of her finger, Blue Autumn Yun completed the refining process, and the Dan pill appeared in the palm of her hand. Priscilla Lee trembled as she looked at the Dan pill, which turned out to be a second-rank top-quality Dan pill. This meant that the young man was at least a 4th-rank alchemist. After understanding the origin of the Dan pills clearly, he then made an offer to acquire Blue Autumn Yun. Blue Autumn Yun couldn't be bothered to haggle with him. Don't be fooled by his seemingly carefree attitude. Actually, he is secretly thrilled inside. By conservatively estimating, he can earn about 20,000 spiritual stones this time, so he won't have to worry about money for a while. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he took out the list of materials he needed. Priscilla Lee picked it up and took a look. She immediately instructed her assistant to take care of it. The black market is very efficient. They managed to prepare all the materials needed by Blue Autumn Yun in just half an hour. Priscilla Lee took out an exquisite storage ring, and all the materials he needed were inside. Unfortunately, the stock of Heavenly Abundance herb was depleted. However, the rewards for the top few at the Potion Refining Symposium in a few days included. With your skills, winning should be a piece of cake. He also gave him the storage ring and alchemy cauldron as a gift. Blue Autumn Yun is already starting to figure out ways to flatter himself with this storage ring. But there is indeed a small matter that he needs to take care of. This man is too powerful. It even attracted the biggest underworld boss in the black market to come and fawn over him. Priscilla Lee listened very respectfully. He was quite pleased in his heart. The favors from a 4th-rank alchemist are much more valuable than spiritual stones. So Blue Autumn Yun mentioned to him about some small characters from Luo's merchant association who don't know the severity of the situation and are making secret moves, which really displeased him. He ordered Priscilla Lee to investigate those small characters and to bring them all down. The more he can bring down, the better. And make sure to keep them alive. Let them taste the flavor of bankruptcy. When this was said, Priscilla Lee was suddenly a little nervous. He was well aware that the forces besieging the Luo's Merchant Association were not to be trifled with. In Luling City, many merchant associations are colluding with the city lord. If the black market were to suddenly make a move, it would definitely face various forms of suppression. With a big wave of his hand, Blue Autumn Yun was unwilling to listen to this nonsense. He told him in a very calm tone, "There is nothing that cannot be done, only whether to do it or not." He then patted Priscilla Lee on the shoulder. He knew that just by exchanging these Dan pills, he could make her do these things. It was indeed a bit embarrassing. So he took out a jade bottle from his arms as a reward and instructed her to do it beautifully. Priscilla Lee hesitated and was about to refuse. However, she could tell it was not a negotiation, but an unquestionable command. He curiously opened the jade bottle. The next second, his expression suddenly changed drastically. There are actually 2 third-rank top-quality Dan pills inside. The man in front of him is actually a 5-rank alchemist. Priscilla Lee was so scared that she sat paralyzed on the ground. He never imagined that he would encounter this. In this small Luling city, encountering a super genius. Don't say it's just Luling City. No one in the entire blue vast domain can do anything to him. He secretly speculated that this man is definitely not just a young man. He must have cultivated some advanced rejuvenation cultivation method. The stewardesses around looked at each other in confusion. They couldn't understand why the president, who is knowledgeable and experienced, would be scared into such a state. They couldn't help but be curious about what exactly was inside the jade bottle. But a single glance from Priscilla Lee made them shrink back in fear. Priscilla Lee was very clear in her heart. If the Dark Merchant Association could have such a backer, then there was no need to worry about just lingering in the small Luling city. He immediately clasped his fists and bowed in salute. He vowed to do his utmost as instructed by the superior. If the superior is willing, he is even willing to offer himself. Blue Autumn Yun was slightly surprised. He did not have such a preference yet. Just as he was about to leave and reveal his identity, Priscilla Lee immediately lowered her head nervously, telling him there was no need. A small merchant association like theirs was not worthy of knowing his name. She assured him that their whereabouts would also be kept confidential. Blue Autumn Yun waved his hand and walked away. As Priscilla Lee watched his back, she broke out in a cold sweat. Such a big shot coming to the black market clearly meant they were going to do dirty work. Asking for his name would be seeking death. After witnessing Blue Autumn Yun's strength, Priscilla Lee agreed to help him without saying a word. Until she watched him leave. Priscilla Lee's rapidly beating heart finally slowed down a bit. Then she suddenly turned around and glared angrily at the attendants. "How can you treat such an important person like me without any respect? Do you have no eyes?" The fox attendant was so scared that her face was covered in cold sweat. Who could tell that this was an important person? Priscilla Lee immediately demoted her to the lowest level of receptionist. Then she turned to Black Cat and handed over the position of Merchant Association Manager to her. Black Cat stood dumbfounded in place. She was so happy that she almost fainted. Now there is only 1 day left before the Luling City Potion Refining Symposium. Aurelia Luo arrived at the front gate of the courtyard, feeling very nervous. He felt too overwhelmed that day. He was comforted by Junior Brother, as if he were a child. She adjusted her breathing slightly. And then she slowly pushed open the door. Blue Autumn Yun was testing next to the alchemy cauldron. Seeing the 2 people coming in, he hurriedly greeted them. Perhaps it was because he had read too many pulp fiction books recently. Unconsciously, he had learned some tactics used by male protagonists. In just a few words, he made Aurelia Luo blush and her heart race. And she came this time precisely to take the 2 of them out to relax. Blue Autumn Yun didn't even think about it and ran out. The remaining 3 women followed behind to watch. After a while, Ariel Mu got tired. She wanted to find a place to rest for a while. So Aurelia Luo left Lin Luo here. She continued to stroll around with Blue Autumn Yun by herself. Blue Autumn Yun, due to being in seclusion for too long, is full of curiosity about everything here. What kind of cloth do women use for their menstrual periods? Indian miracle oil sold at roadside stalls. Cucumbers sold at the stall. The two walked around in circles. Aurelia Luo was so tired that her face turned red and her neck thickened. Her whole body's clothes were soaked through. Blue Autumn Yun saw the situation and quickly helped her down to rest. Then immediately displayed spiritual energy. A refreshing breeze blew by. Aurelia Luo's hair and clothes were sent floating, exceptionally cool. Blue Autumn Yun smilingly used the wind control technique to help create a breeze. Is this better now? Soon, a rose-shaped ice popsicle slowly formed in his hand. Aurelia Luo took the ice popsicle and observed it carefully. She had never seen the spirit technique being used like this before. Blue Autumn Yun rubbed his head and mentioned that it was also his first time using the spirit technique for someone else. Blue Autumn Yun continued by creating an ice pop and chewing on it noisily himself. Aurelia Luo blushed and lowered her head. Is this her first time using it for someone else? Just then, a merchant walked up to the two of them. The two of them then each selected a hairpin for each other. The playfighting was really infused with a bit of the sour scent of a young couple. The YouTuber was itching from the hate. Until the late night hours, several people met at the North Street intersection as agreed. Ariel Mu waved her arms at the two people. After seeing Blue Autumn Yun sporting a new look, Ariel Mu couldn't help but be astonished. Blue Autumn Yun chuckled and told her that it was the first senior sister who helped her with the makeover. Upon hearing this, Lin Luo was greatly surprised. Miss actually knows how to help others with their hair. The young man entered the world in order to collect medicinal herbs. But he did not expect to unexpectedly gain the favor of the miss of the house. Lin Luo looked puzzled at the woman's meticulous care. Miss of the house usually goes to great lengths to avoid contact with the opposite sex. Now she even personally cooks desserts. This is a treatment that not even Patriarch had before he got sick. Could it be that Miss of the house is in love? The man who can control and conquer her has appeared. Amazing, what a big news. Nosy soul is burning in this instant. Lin Luo just wanted to ask something. Unfortunately, after making eye contact with Aurelia Luo, she immediately quieted down and covered her mouth. Luling City is prosperous with commercial trade. It is one of the wealthiest cities in Mu Province capital. The night market is brightly lit. They soon arrived at a restaurant belonging to Luo's Merchant Association. Aurelia Luo was busy introducing it to them. The food inside is quite unique. It's a pity that junior brother didn't come to try it. So she let Blue Autumn Yun choose which one to go to. Little Autumn clearly wants to go to that one. She keeps looking inside. Ariel Mu looked slightly puzzled at a nearby building. There were some women with revealing clothing and heavy makeup there, luring customers by flirting and posing. They kept calling out, "Dear guest, come in and have some fun!" Blue Autumn Yun immediately became anxious. I'd better be cautious with little senior sister's words. I didn't see where that came from. At this moment, a heavily made-up woman next to them waved at Blue Autumn Yun. Young man, don't be cowardly after being tempted. Come in and have some fun after watching for so long. Aurelia Luo and Lin Luo quietly stood on the side. Let's see what he's up to. And Blue Autumn Yun immediately reached out and stopped her. She firmly told her that she would never go in. Only Ariel Mu was still looking inside nonstop, curious about what they were talking about. At this moment, a figure caught Aurelia Luo's attention. Blue Autumn Yun followed her gaze in confusion. There was a commotion at the entrance of the restaurant. Then two young men, reeking of alcohol, walked out. The women quickly stepped aside to make way, apologizing and smiling as they bid them farewell and inviting them to come back to play, using polite words. Aurelia Luo recognized these two bastards at a glance. She said angrily through gritted teeth with a dark face. The despicable fellows, traitor alchemist Zhao Lu who betrayed the Merchant Association and the president of Shanghai Merchant Association, Yong Fuqian, who has always been targeting us, are actually colluding together. And those two suddenly stopped in their tracks. They stumbled towards us with drunken expressions. One of them stammered, "Lu, Miss Lu of the house, long time no see. Is Patriarch's body still okay?" Lin Luo, standing in front of Miss of the house, couldn't help but scold him severely. "Zhao Lu, you bastard. The Merchant Association nurtured you for 10 years, and you actually sided with others. Shameless." Yongfu Qian on the side continued, "Oh, housekeeper Luo, you can't say that. A fine bird chooses a tree to perch. Luo's Merchant Association has already declined. Shouldn't others be allowed to leave?" "Leave if you want to leave. Just hurry up and go." Lin Luo angrily pointed at the two of them. "Don't be too pleased. We have found a more powerful alchemist. Just wait to be humiliated at the Potion Refining Symposium." Zhao Lu glanced at Aurelia Luo and the others. Finally, his gaze settled on the only male, Blue Autumn Yun. "Is it that kid? She is the young miss from a wealthy family. But she is coveted for her beauty by an alchemist in the family. Now the woman's grandfather is afflicted with a severe illness. The alchemist took the opportunity to force her into marriage. Just because the woman refused, he colluded with other merchant associations to seek revenge together. Coincidentally, they unexpectedly ran into each other the day before the Potion Refining Symposium. Alchemist Zhao Lu deliberately came to provoke. Lin Luo sternly told him, "I no longer need you." Zhao Lu looked closely at Blue Autumn Yun, who was young and lacked the noble aura of an alchemist. Her hands were fair, and showed no signs of potion refining for a long time. Just looking at this guy, he can replace himself. Zhao Lu laughed heartily, finding it amusing. He randomly found someone to join. "Aurelia Luo, are you giving up on yourself?" Aurelia Luo ignored and turned around, wanting to leave with her companion. However, Yongfu Qian waved his hand. The guards behind him spread out to block their way. "Miss Luo, don't be in a rush. Let's have a good chat since we finally meet. Why leave in such a hurry?" Yongfu Qian clapped with a smile. "Come over here, everyone. This is the miss of the house Luo who brought the alchemist here. She wants to compete with this rotten onion. Isn't it funny?" The onlookers were all whispering among themselves. They had never seen Blue Autumn Yun before, and he didn't even have the attire or emblem of an alchemist. They couldn't sense any powerful spiritual energy from him either. It seems that the previous rumor about Zhao Lu forcing a marriage proposal and then seeking revenge by joining the Shanghai Merchant Association is true. Zhao Lu sneered and said, "Miss Luo, even if you resort to finding someone of low quality to save face, you still won't agree to marry me. Fine, then you can wait for news of Patriarch Luo's death." Yongfu Qian added sarcastically, "There is still a chance now. Miss Luo, why not just marry Master Lu directly and have us help manage the Merchant Association? It would be better than forcing yourself into this situation." As he spoke, he rolled up his sleeve and asked the onlookers for their opinions. The crowd around him started to make noise, mostly negative comments about Luo's Merchant Association. They said that she was just a woman and should spend time accompanying Patriarch Luo instead of managing the Merchant Association. Aurelia Luo looked coldly at the troublemakers. It's unbelievable that Luo's Merchant Association has been reduced to a point where anyone can trample on it, being publicly humiliated in this way. At the moment of sorrow and indignation, a warm feeling spread between Aurelia Luo's palms. The young man stood side by side with her, holding her hand tightly. "Senior sister, I'm here." A simple sentence, but it made Aurelia Luo's nose tingle. It's really good to have someone accompany her at this time. Blue Autumn Yun scanned around. These guys are all finished but still want to come out and act disgustingly. The black market should be operating in secret by now. At this moment, Blue Autumn Yun tightly held Aurelia Luo's hand. And all of this was seen by Zhao Lu. Aurelia Luo never allows any member of the opposite sex to touch her on regular days. Now, she was holding hands without any reaction. A wave of jealousy surged in Zhao Lu's heart. Blue Autumn Yun spoke out at this moment. If you want to see the excitement of Luo's Merchant Association, I suggest we leave. Otherwise, there won't even be a chance to beg for mercy later. He then raised his middle finger to everyone. The first place in the Potion Refining Symposium must be Luo's Merchant Association. From tomorrow onwards, Luo's Merchant Association will also be renowned in the Mu province capital. He finally revealed a friendly smile. But I am looking forward to seeing you weep and kneel before me. This miss of the house usually hates contact with the opposite sex. But now, she doesn't feel a hint of disgust while holding hands with junior brother. And all of this is being watched by the alchemist, who covets her beauty.